Hi there guys, I'm Chris Bowden and welcome to the Geek Group. I'm here today with my very good friend Steve.
Hello.
Engineer Steve is what the fans call you.
Yes.
Which is funny because half our Steves are engineers of some form or other, but
Yeah.
this is Engineer Steve.
Versus Video Steve or Jabroni Steve or...
I wanted to go with Steve Plus.
Well...
His last name is Minus, so yeah. So we're here today and we're playing with big toys. I love this thing. It's just, ooh. I love heavy equipment in a big way because I'm a farm boy, so it's a thing.
It is a thing.
And Titan Equipment was kind enough to donate to us the use of a Genie lift. And it's a baby Genie lift by the real world standards. I guess it's a step up from one of the vertical arm things.
Well, depends on what you're doing, but yeah.
Okay. Well, those things at 30-foot heights are terrifying.
So, I will agree there.
So this is a medium-sized Genie lift. And Titan Equipment has been awesome and donated the use of this to us so that we could do all the outdoor security cameras and the ceiling in the main demonstration hall, because the ways that we were doing it was we could either use the man lift on the forklift, which is like the man basket, which is only good up to about 15 feet. Our forklift doesn't really reach that high. The other alternative we had was to do it with scaffolding, which was really cool. It's nice and safe and stable, but it's really hard to move around a lot. So that was kind of a pain. Joe Simon, our awesome local member, made a call to Titan and said, hey, I know these guys, can you help them out? Hooked it up. Titan has been awesome to us. They're a great company to work for, and we recommend them highly. Since we had this in the shop, though, it's a big, cool toy. It's heavy equipment. There's hydraulics and levers and joysticks and buttons, and it even has a knob labeled Creep, which is not something I've ever gotten to see before. So we figured we'd do a demo video on it and take you guys through the whole process. And you've been driving this for a week.
Yeah, we've been hanging cameras, taking out lights. It's been a busy week around here.
Yeah, and this has been even cool outside in the snow and everything. You haven't any problems. It doesn't care how cold it is.
Well, within reason.
The operator cares, but the machine's okay. So how about if you take everybody through, and I'll just follow along and ask any questions that I may have, because I can fake being a viewer.
You can fake being a viewer?
I'll fake being a viewer, but you're the guy with the microphone on.
All right.
So let's take everybody through. We should probably start down on the ground.
Yeah, let's start on the ground controls.
Okay.
And go from there.
All right, so we're on the ground, and this is the lower control panel.
This is the lower control panel.
Now, why is this here? Why would you, because you've got all the controls up in the basket.
Well, there's two reasons for it's down here. Most common use is probably when people put the lift into storage, they'll often raise the boom and elevate the basket.
Okay.
That keeps people from playing with the basket, climbing in it. And once you remove the key, the unit's secure. No one can climb in it, fall off it.
Okay.
Because anything to climb on is in the air.
So without the key down here, none of the controls up there will work.
Correct.
Okay.
And the second reason is, should something happen to the individual up there, someone at the ground can get them back down.
This allows you full control of the whole machine to like rescue or anything like that for...
Correct. You don't have hydraulic speed control down here.
So it's all full speed?
It's either all full speed or creep, I'm not sure.
Okay. But this...
But either way, it'll give you a manual override.
You
can't drive the machine on the ground.
Oh, you can't? You don't have motion controls?
You don't have motion controls here because it'd be a risk of running your foot over.
That would make sense.
That would make sense.
But you've got E-stop and the key switch, and the key's got off, boom controls, and then ground controls.
Correct.
And then all the basic move functions. We'll cover these when we're up in the basket.
All right.
And you've got an hour meter. This machine is practically brand new with only 52 hours on there, and we've probably put most of those on it.
Probably close.
And then I'm guessing from the looks of it, these are those annoying, screaming, I'm moving beeper things.
I would assume so.
Everybody look at me! I'm gonna move at half a mile
put
an
your
hour.
head next to them. We'll see how we'll make it beep. See if that,
they're vicious loud. Now, some other things around here is we've got the main shroud. And there's a plug sticking out the side.
We have a plug on the side here. This one is the utility outlet. It gives power up to the outlet located in the basket.
Okay. So you don't need an extension cord hanging.
You don't need an extension cord hanging. You plug one in at the ground, and it safely routes all up through the wireways and into the basket. It's rated 15 amps.
Okay.
Which should be enough to power most tools.
Like hand drills, basic stuff like that.
Hand drills, basic saws. Yeah, you can't use big industrial saws and whatnot, but most people aren't going to be running anything over 15 amps in the basket anyway.
Okay. Now what else do we have down here?
Well, first off, starting on the front end here, we have a second plug.
Okay, and this one has a meter with it.
This one has a meter with it. This is the plug for the battery charger.
So it just charges itself. You just plug it in.
You just plug it into the wall, it charges itself.
Do you have to set any switches or anything, or just really just plug it in and
Just plug
wait?
it in and it charges. There's a meter on the front that shows charging current.
Okay.
So it'll start somewhere around 20, 25 amps. And when that drops down to 0, you know the battery is charged.
Okay.
And it's ready for service.
Now the wheels on this end are articulated. These are the steering wheels.
These are the steering wheels on this end.
Now, here's a stupid question. Which end's the front? I've been trying to figure this out all week. Which end's the front? I thought this was the back because it's where you plug it in. And that just, I don't know why, but in my head it made sense that you plug it in the back. But these are the wheels that steer. So, which would
steer in the rear,
Okay.
but vehicles steer in the front. I think it's ambidextrous.
I just broke you a little bit, didn't I? Because you got that look like, well, damn, I never thought about that before. Which is, because it doesn't really care.
It really doesn't care.
I honestly have no idea. We're going to get like 50 comments on it, but I honestly have no idea. Now, another neat feature on this, because when you watch it in action, it's really cool because it looks like it's going to be amazingly tippy, and it isn't. It's rock solid. And we tried to figure out, okay, what's the counterweight? It is the counterweight. If you look at this bar here is a solid block of 2-inch thick steel. And so is this one, and all the main frame members are made like this. It's giant solid blocks of steel. Yeah, it's huge. And that's the counterweight. There may be like steel weights in there, but I don't think there's room for much because the battery boxes are full of batteries.
The battery boxes are full
Inside
of batteries.
here, it's got the charger and all that.
I assume the main
And there's
drive motors.
Yeah, there's hydraulics and stuff. I think the drive motors are down on this end.
Yeah, they may be hub. No, they're not hub motors.
No, I thought they were at first, but I got looking at it and I was like, no, this has the drive units in there, but you can see this here is a 2-inch thick plate of steel. These are, and then there's the big piece of steel that it's all mounted to, and it's beefy.
I think it's just a big heavy base.
It is. It weighs about 7,000 pounds. Like, give or take, it's about 7,000 pounds. I saw a label on it the other day, and I was like, oh, wow.
Well, the load rating for each tire for ground to support it 7,500.
Okay.
So don't put this on the second floor of a building unless it's
God,
graded.
yeah. And grass is right out.
Well, in the summer, grass is out.
You could do this in winter grass and it'd be okay? Like frozen ground?
Well, frozen ground you're not going to sink in.
Okay.
If it's frozen solid.
I ain't chancing that. Because it doesn't take a lot of sinking. It's a long lever, so you
It
lose.
is a long lever.
We only sank 2 inches. That's a lot on the end of a 20-foot boom.
That is a lot on
so
the other end.
I would not do that. Now, what else do we have to look at out here?
Oh, we've got the charger.
I could hop in the thing if you wanted to show inside there. I could take it up.
We can do that in a moment.
Because
Or we can just
you're
take it
dressed
up
for
right down here.
outside.
Yes.
So I figure I'll hop in it and take it up.
Well, let's just do it from right here. Actually.
Oh, hey, we've got the local controls.
We've got the local controls.
Okay.
Stop out.
That's pretty slick there. Never used the ground controls before. Okay. It got a lot bigger really fast.
It got a lot bigger really fast. Yes.
Folds away for compact storage.
It does.
All right, well, let's move the camera around and we'll give people a look inside.
All right.
All right, so now we're down into it. We've got the machine up in the air. And we've got the main, this is the turret.
This is
pretty
the base of the turret here.
And this is more massive steel because its design requires it for any kind of safety. It's really massively, solidly built. And we've got more 1.5-inch big steel plate here. And it's all solid. Everything from here down is just big solid plate steel.
It's just plate steel.
Up here we go into tubing, which is like 1/4-inch wall thickness, huge tubing. And you can start to see, like, this is the motor. It's a hydraulic actuator. It's basically a hydraulic motor. And this motor rotates the turret. And then we've got this here, which I don't know if that's a motor or if that's the base of a hydraulic cylinder.
I think that's the base of the cylinder.
I'm going to look around and see if I can see.
I think that's the base
It
of the
is.
cylinder.
It's the base of the cylinder that lifts up.
The center column.
Yeah, it pushes up the center column there. And then you can see all the myriad of plumbing and tubing and hoses and wires and stuff, because all the control circuitry is way out on the end of the boom. So it's got a feedback all the way from one end to the other.
And the hydraulic pump is either located in the turret or the base, so that's all hydraulic lines running through there as well.
Okay. All right, so we've got these little blocks I keep seeing all over, especially in the bottom. I'm guessing these are just the rubber stops.
Those are going to be cushion bumpers that'll take the load of the tower and cushion it when it lands.
Okay, so when everything's at rest and there's no load on the hydraulic system, it just sits on the bumpers.
It just sits in the bumpers. Gives it something to sit on versus scraping metal on metal.
Okay. Well, that pretty much covers everything on the ground, doesn't it?
I think so.
I guess we get to go play in the air.
All right, you want to drop it back down a minute?
Yeah, I'll take it down.
Don't
Clear?
crush the camera.
All right, now something we should talk about before we get in is if you're in the basket,
Safety
you need to be in a
procedures,
harness.
Yes.
So we both have full body harnesses with
Both have
arrest
harnesses
cables and
with
all that
lanyards.
jazz. So you lift up the bar. Now inside here, there are a number of attachment points, but here's one here, and there's a matching one on the other side. And you just take your clip, and now I'm in, and I'm guessing X1 means that's one person.
Yeah, one person per
One
side.
clip, okay.
So if there's two people in the basket, each one needs to be on their own anchor point.
Mm-hmm, that makes sense. All right, well, you hop in. Okay, now controls that we have in here are we have the foot pedal.
We have the foot pedal, which is the system engaged that turns it on, makes this control panel active.
Okay, and that's pretty much a dead man switch. Nothing works if that isn't pushed down.
Correct. We also have the E-stop up here.
Okay. Now, other controls that are up here are we've got the horn.
We have the horn. There's no horn at the ground, but you're not
Yeah,
going to
there isn't, is there?
There is none at the ground, but you're not going to be driving over the ground from there because there's no joystick controller.
Okay. And speaking of that, we've got the joystick control. Now, this is front and back, and it doesn't move left or right. It only moves front and back.
Left to right.
So
There's
steering
a
is...
rocker switch on top, which is steering.
Okay, so this moves us yellow arrow or blue arrow. I notice there isn't forward or reverse. It's yellow arrow
and blue
arrow. And then we've got blue and yellow back and forth.
On
and
the sides.
the reason for that is if you get around to the other side, it'd be mirror image. So they're really, left and right becomes relative. And everything's blue and yellow because you can look down at the base and see blue goes that way. Okay, and when you move that, oh here, I push my foot down. But if you move this, you'll hear the steering move. So this is steering with your thumb.
Steering with your thumb
And then to move-
driving with your hand there.
Okay. And it will just barely move along. It can go
When it's all the
amazingly
way
slow.
down, it'll go from crawl to actually fairly fast.
Okay, but
You're-
only
Only when you're all the way down. As soon as you lift up off the ground, there's a governor that keeps the speed to fairly slow.
now. Does it know where the basket is? Like, does it have a way of like position sensing? Because it knows if you're in the air, because it locks all the movement speeds down to creep.
Correct.
But how much does this do to protect you?
There's hard limits on everything. They can only go so far.
Okay.
When it reaches the end of a motion, there's going to be an electronic limit switch that'll keep it from going any further. When you're reaching then, the hydraulic pump does not turn off, but you can hear the pitch change.
So it says no.
Yeah.
Does it have, I remember when it first arrived, because we were curious, we put it with the boom down on the ground,
Correct.
all the way fully extended, and we took Batman and Dave and me and hung everybody on the basket to see if we could get to tip it all to see how stable it was, and we couldn't do it.
No.
And that's way beyond what it was designed for.
Correct. It's designed for 500 pounds in the basket. We probably put, about 800 on it?
Oh,
there?
easy. Is it possible, from what you've seen in operating this, to put the arm in a position where it will want to tip? Or is it pretty much stable in its entire work envelope?
Assuming you're on level ground, it is stable in its work envelope.
Anywhere in the envelope?
Anywhere in the envelope that I have found. I've been all the way up, I've been all the way over.
And nothing? No
I've
problem.
had everything extended straight out, at full reach, and still stable.
Okay.
One thing I will note is there is a tip alarm.
Okay.
You're going to really only run into that if you're on a ramp or similar.
Have we set that off with our ramp going in and out of the building?
I have, but it's so the unit was bouncing.
Oh, okay.
If you're bouncing, it can sometimes trigger it.
Okay.
If the trip alarm goes off, there's instructions down here on the panel to tell you which order to retract in.
Oh, okay.
Because depending if your bucket is uphill or downhill of the base, you have to retract in the right order to restore stability.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So what are the controls that we have up here? Because we wanted to talk about these down there, but it's really better up here. And up here we can move them and show people what they actually do.
What they do. It's the same controls as down below. They're laid out a little different arrangement, but they're all here. So first off, we have low battery override if you need to get yourself down and the battery cuts out.
Is that like an emergency power backup thing somewhere, or is there like an extra battery, or?
I assume that it has a low voltage cutoff,
Okay,
just above what the limit of operation is,
okay,
and it turns it on, lets you run for a couple minutes to get yourself back down on the ground.
okay.
At that point, you need to plug it in and let it charge.
So what are the switches?
What do we have? Well, we have low power override. We have our horn,
Okay,
E-stop, which
okay.
everyone knows what the E-stop is.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious. That's the big red, oh God, no button.
Yes. If there's a problem, hit the red button.
Now, we've got this here,
This is our bucket tilt.
which doesn't make a lot of sense because we're turned
We're
sideways
turned
right now to
sideways.
face the
It
camera.
does not actually tip the bucket, but it tips back at the end of the boom.
Okay. And that's over there.
That is
It's
over
doing
there.
that. Okay. Do we want to turn this off to the end?
We
so
can do
maybe
that in a
make
moment.
things make a little bit more sense to people? All right, so what else do we have? We've got, this is the telescope.
This is
Let's take us
telescope.
up a little bit before we start moving around too much, because my car's right there.
All right, well then
Okay.
let's go right here. We have the switch with the guard on it.
Okay.
This is the main column lift, the same one we showed earlier when we opened up the turret.
Why does this get a guard and nothing else does?
Well, this one has the guard because this you can get yourself in trouble with if you go down accidentally,
Okay, that makes sense.
because you can get over things with this. And when you come
Yep.
down, you come straight down.
Okay.
So let's run up. We're going to want to increase the speed here because this different hydraulics move at different speeds.
Yep.
Because the pump uses the same pump for everything. So
Now let's see how high it'll go, and then we'll come back down a little.
all right.
So that's our, for just that, our max
This is
height.
the upper limit of the main tower lift. there.
Okay. Well, let's head back down about halfway so we stay
Which
clear of
puts
the
our
car.
feet at
But
just about 10 feet.
yeah, okay. Yeah, it is. You can compare it to the wall. Okay. All right, let's head down a little.
All right.
We'll go down to about 6 feet off so that we can manipulate without hitting the car or anything.
All right.
Okay. Now, what are other ones we have? We've got,
Well, we have our bucket tilt now, which will make more sense.
yeah, that makes a lot more sense now we're up here.
We can we can dip down a little bit here.
I hate you. Now, why would you need to do that? Because I've noticed no matter where we move this, it automatically does that.
It
Oh,
does
is that
it.
all the further back it goes?
It's all the further back it goes.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
Well, sometimes you got to reach stuff. You've got to get around obstacles, whatnot.
Okay.
And this can give you that extra little bit to get around stuff, get yourself in a comfortable working position.
Okay.
Let's move down to about level
But
there.
I've noticed that, like, as we go up or around or everything, it keeps the platform where you were. It keeps it level.
It keeps it level, assuming you have it set to level.
Okay. So next one will probably be...
Next one we have is our tower extension,
Okay.
or boom extension.
Yeah, we're totally clear of the car. Okay. So this lets us boom out and dramatically increases reach for everything.
Yes. We can come out, I want to say about 5-6 feet here. Currently our boom is slightly downhill, so
Okay.
we actually are now a little
We're a
bit
little lower than we started.
which is fine.
Yeah, we're not going to hit the windshield or anything, but be aware that there's a windshield down there.
There is a windshield down there.
In fact, I'm going to show this button here in the middle, and I'm going to take us up a little bit.
All right, so you're going to lift the boom arm up here.
Yeah, this is arm up, and I'll get us to level. There.
Now we're about level.
Now, I'm noticing we're springy,
we are springy.
and this is because we're all the way on the end of a big boom, and that's just how things work.
That's-
We're still stable. It's not going to tip or anything.
We're
but,
stable.
But you got to have your sea legs about you a little
Yeah.
bit. Okay.
That's-
we can get rid of a lot of that by bringing the arm back in. Now I'm slowing it down by using the speed knob. just because it's nice to not slam into things. All right.
Okay, once again, coming across the top row, we have tilt,
Okay.
boom extension. The next one is wrist turn.
Okay.
At the end of the main boom, it can pivot left to right.
Now, it's got two different left to right pivot points.
Out at the end,
Yeah, there's one here at, well, let's call it the wrist.
the wrist,
And then there's one down here right at the basket.
right at the basket, correct.
And we can totally independently control those. We can even move them in opposite directions and
We
stuff.
can.
Okay.
So let's turn at the wrist here a moment.
Okay.
So we can turn and come around to the side here now.
Now we can turn the other, the basket turn.
Then we can turn the basket.
And that's
can
just
turn
us
back
right
towards
out
the
here.
camera again.
Yeah.
And this will turn quite a ways, actually.
Yeah, that'll come all the way around to the side. So we can take this one back. So when you're up to where it can reach, it gives you a lot of options to be just about anywhere. Let's put this one back,
All right.
because there's another part I want to show while we're out here. The wrist up and
Lift.
down, yeah. So these parallel bars right here can move. They're all the way down right now.
They are all the
But
way
there's
down.
a huge work envelope right at the end of the arm without even moving the main arm.
Correct. We've got almost 10 feet of up and down because right now the boom is down at our feet here and
Yep.
the joint is up about 4 feet off the
Yeah, it's
off-
right about chest height.
about chest height. We can take that and we can swing this all the way around so our
You ready? I'll take
so
this
this
up.
joint is about 4 feet beneath our feet.
Okay. Let's take that right on up.
Now when you do this, you're going to swing out and back in.
Yeah, we arc a little bit, but it's still, it's a lot of reach. And now we're much further out from the machine than we were
And
when
we're
we
not even
started.
all the way up yet. on
No,
this.
we're halfway.
We're halfway. So we're now, our feet are now level with the boom.
Yep.
And at this height, you can get maximum reach.
Yeah, because with this, you can do this and telescope out and bring up the arm, and you're way out all of a sudden. So let's take this all the way up.
I'm gonna move the flags here pretty
Yeah,
quick.
we're heading up into the flags. We need a bigger room.
Chris,
Yeah?
the shot's just all lens flare now.
All right, so it goes quite a ways up in a hurry. Now, I'm going to stop us right here because this is an interesting thing to point out. This gives a demonstration of the stability of the machine. That's my car
That is
right
your
under
car
us.
beneath us.
I love my car. I
is a nice
dearly love my car. And I'm completely comfortable to grab this knob and take us all the way out and
Above
fully,
your car.
and right over my car and fully extend the boom. And I know that there's no way this is going to tip over, even though it looks like it, because there's that little tiny base over there. And that little tiny base is 20 feet across the room.
It is about,
Yeah,
full
now we're-
extension, it should be about 20 feet.
We are absolutely as far away from the base as we can get horizontally.
Correct.
So this should be the tippiest it can get. Because if we go any higher, it's actually going to get more stable because we're moving the weight closer to the base.
Correct.
This is as bad as it can get. And it's totally fine.
It's springy.
It's springy, but it's
We're
not,
on the end of a 20-foot arm,
Yeah.
so it's going to be springy.
but it's totally safe. It's totally cool. The engineering on this is really amazing.
It is a beautiful piece of equipment.
And it's important when you're doing this kind of work that you can trust your gear, that you can have absolute, it's just like climbing.
Just like climbing.
You have to put total trust in the gear, which means it was probably built by somebody who knows what they're doing. So I'll take this down. We're totally clear of the car now. Now there's another fun one that we haven't talked about yet.
There is.
There is. Can I do it? It's this one?
You can, but do not do it at full speed.
Oh yeah, that could hurt.
That
Now does it know? Does it say, hey, you're not going to want to do that? And it
Nope.
limits that down?
It'll-
Okay.
it'll-
I'll go down to creep. And I'll just hit this and we can come and chase Jabroni.
All right. Now, once you're moving,
You can
and you're
speed it up a
rotating,
little
you can
bit, yeah.
speed up. But before you stop, slow it back down again. Otherwise, it's going to jerk you when you stop it.
Okay.
So if you have a long ways to rotate, you can start slow, bring it all the way up to full speed, and then bring it back down again.
Okay, so I'm going to take us back, and I'm going to take it up to full speed and see how fast it'll go.
All right.
I'll start us out at
We're
creep.
at creep.
Now we'll go all the way up to 9,
This is about 6 here.
7, 8, 9. Now we're
This is
hauling.
full speed of rotation. If we were extended out all the way on the
Oh,
arm,
God.
this would be flying.
And you can hear the pitch change as we come back down. So, okay. Now, all right, so let's talk about the driving controls. Let's here, we'll bring, I'm going to bring just the arm up. That's that one? Okay. Okay, so now we can drive from here.
We can
totally
drive
cool.
from here in the air. Well, think about turning here shortly because the back end's going to kick around. Well, if you want to define that as back. Well, I finally got your front and back figured out.
Yeah? Okay.
Back is whatever direction you're not currently traveling.
That is a good system. All right, now I can stop right here, and I can turn the wheels the other way, and I can get us headed out that way now.
You can.
Because you're heading outside in just a minute.
We will be headed outside shortly here.
This is so much fun. All right, so
There's one more thing. We've been using it, but we haven't exactly spoken about that, and that is the speed control.
okay.
This is how fast all the hydraulic movements are made.
And this is for everything.
This is for everything except driving on the ground.
Okay. Yeah, driving underground is proportionally
It's
from,
proportional
from
in the
lever.
joystick.
Yep.
So when you're moving with the toggle switches, you want to start at a fairly low speed, and if you're going to move a long ways, you can bring up the speed as you're moving,
Okay.
and then bring it back down again before you stop.
And this allows you to ramp into motion, so it makes it a lot less
It makes it a
banging
lot
around out
less
here.
jerky and getting thrown around in the basket.
Okay. Well, cool. So that pretty much covers all the basics of getting to play with this fabulous machine.
That it does.
Cool. Well, we want to thank Titan Equipment for providing the machine for us to use for this demonstration and to use around our lab. If you guys are out there and you need big, high-lift equipment, Titan does everything from little toys like this up to giant things that can hoist concrete blocks up in the air for building water towers and stuff like that. If you need to work in the air, it's what they do. Titan is all about working at altitude. So thank you, Titan, for providing us with the use of the Genie lift, and we hope to be working with you guys for many years in the future. In the meantime, I'm Chris Bowden,
I'm Steve Minus.
and we will see you next time. Have fun, guys, and keep exploring.
This video was made possible by a grant from the Future Girl Foundation.
This video was made possible by thousands of private donations from members and viewers like you. Please visit thegeekgroup.org for more information on how you can donate and become a part of our dreams of Avalon.